What is up, guys? This is Kobe here, and today I'm going to bring you guys some big news, which I'm totally not late on at all, by the way. But I'm just playing. But as we all know, the sixth and possibly final area of Arcane River has finally been released. Esfera. This area, from the information we've gathered, currently we do not have a storyline for it, and the storyline will not be set in stone until tomorrow night, at least for me. And I'm gonna get into what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow night as well, because you know, stream area thing, right? But anyway, Esfera is the supposed last area in Arcane River for those who have hit level 235 and have completed the Morass questline. Monsters in Esfera will range from level 240 to 249, with the new boss at level 250, and I'll talk about Will here in a minute. And we do have some NPCs, some kind of new faces here and whatnot. We have the return of Tana, so kind of makes you wonder what her role is gonna be in Esfera. So you know, it's gonna be quite interesting, because I believe they added a bonus questline in Morass that GMS does not have yet because it was released in the ARK update. But I think it was mainly revolving around Jean trying to search for Tana. I'd have to go back and double check, but it was something along the lines of that. So the fact that Tana is going to be playing a role in Esfera is actually going to be rather interesting. But like I said, there's no set in stone storyline for Esfera yet, not until it's officially released on KMS. So anyways, you do all these quests and you get this new arcane symbol, Esfera. And of course, they're not going to be adding dailies for it until a future patch, probably like this summer or something, because that's always how Nexon does it. Luckily, you can buy 20 symbols a week in the coin shop. You can exchange them for Esfera symbols, so I'm going to be taking advantage of that as much as I possibly can. And we also have a Light of Myths chair, kind of like how we had that Morass chair from finishing the Morass questline. Now we get our own little Esfera chair. So there are some, you know, pretty cool looking maps here and there. The first area requires 560 arcane force, the second requires 600, and the third requires 640. So the maps, in my honest opinion, especially the Contaminated Sea, the one with 600 arcane force, is beautiful as all hell. Like, honestly, I love the design of Esfera. It's really nice, and it's like, you know what, it's really cool as well. And I know some people are still kind of bothered about the map layouts, except for the 600 arcane force area. GMS people seem to love the really small and condensed maps, and that's the closest that they've got to it, so they're probably going to be hanging around there a lot. I'll make a video over the maps here in the near future once people kind of train there a little bit more. Right now, you know, it's not even out yet. Not until tomorrow night. It's not out yet, so you know, we're just gonna have to wait. So along with everything that came out in Esfera, a new boss has been released into the game. Will got a huge makeover since the last time we've seen him, which was 4.5 years ago in the Zero storyline. So yeah, he is the ruler of Maple World. Once again, we don't really know too much about his story and his connection to Arcane River and Esfera, but we will know tomorrow night. He does require a minimum arcane force of 760. So if you want to do bonus damage on Will, you need 1140 arcane force. Given the highest amount of arcane force that anyone could possibly get after Esfera comes out is 1320. Now I wonder if that's gonna stay the highest, unless, you know, the level 25 symbols in the files will actually be released in the game, and we're gonna be forced to do these dailies all over again. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry if that's the case. But yeah, Will does require a shit ton of arcane force if you want to do the maximum possible damage to him, and I actually am on a roll to 1140 myself, because I think if I hit there, I'll be somewhat relevant for a normal Will party. Although I don't really know the values of normal Will, I don't really know the values of hard Will either, because hard Will is actually the only mode that's currently out. There is story mode Will, which has around 20 billion HP, but I'm not even sure if that's complete yet, because if you've seen any videos of story mode Will, He's only in his third phase using one attack over and over and over again, and it doesn't really seem to do any damage to you whatsoever. The only time you take damage is if you just bump into him and touch him, which is 10% of your health. So it's story mode Will is a big giant pushover, and it's really nothing to be worried about. So I really hope they buff story mode Will, like at least to a point where it's somewhat challenging. Like, we're so high level now. We're above 235. You're gonna give us a boss that doesn't even have as much health as normal Empress. That's some jokes. I mean, I get it's story mode, but come on, don't make fun of us like that. But anyway, Will has about 3 phases in this boss fight. The third phase has currently not been seen on the test server yet. Koreans are trying their absolute hardest to be able to make it that far. I know Malgium and his party is running Will for about 6 hours a day on the test server to try and make as much progress as they possibly can. And the furthest they've made it out of those 6 hours a day for the past 5 days or so is halfway through phase 2. This boss is not a pushover in hard mode, definitely. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Maybe they'll just keep hard mode, you know, as hard as it is, and then as buffs come over time, people will eventually be defeating hard mode. But I already know that once they release a normal mode in the main servers, that he's gonna be defeated day 1. There's pretty much no doubt about that, because if this is hard mode and they can make it this far into hard mode, normal Will, they're not gonna struggle in normal mode at all. I feel like it's gonna be like, given the arcane force requirements and the fact that you can do 1.5 times damage, I think normal Will's difficulty is going to be that little gap, or it's gonna fill in that little gap in between normal Lucid and hard Damien, because the gap between those two bosses are much bigger than you think. At least for us over here on KMS, it's like, what, you need like early 20k stat to be able to be efficient for normal Lucid, you know, having the proper arcane force requirements of 540 and being at least level 235, right? And hard Damien, people want about 35k or above, so it's a pretty big gap. I'm definitely beyond that normal Lucid requirement, but I'm not even close to the hard Damien requirement, so it's quite a bit, and I'm just hoping Will falls in between those two, so I'll be able to fight Will before I can fight hard Damien, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Will has 3 phases. First one seems like you have to fight him in 2 different dimensions at the same time, so you can't necessarily do this alone, otherwise it's gonna be really difficult. So you are gonna have to have like a party split, kind of coordinate, you know, what party members do the most damage, who does the least and whatnot, who needs the bishop, who doesn't need the bishop, you know, get 2 bishops, put them in 2 different dimensions, and, you know, just, you gotta do something about this phase. It's kind of weird. And then, you know, we have all these other attacks and whatnot going down, full map attack, spider skill, and that's pretty much phase 1. Phase 2, he has a shadow on the ground to where he shows his true self, and you'll also have that reflection on the ground as well, showing your character having no face at all. So it's, phase 2 is pretty creepy. You know, like I said, nobody's gone through phase 2 just yet. It's just another clusterfuck, and you can't use potions in phase 2, so you're gonna die a lot. In phase 3 is Will's true spider mode. We don't really know what it looks like because nobody's actually made it to phase 3 just yet. In the story mode, phase 3 does not count because it's literally the biggest pushover ever, and that's it. Now, once you defeat Will, now I'm not sure if this includes story mode as well on the live servers, but I really hope it does. A new skill comes out. You get a new skill called Spider in Mirror. The skill has 2 parts. The first part is called Space Disrupt. Now, once you do that, it's kind of like a it's like an AoE mobbing type skill, just like a huge full map attack that does 1,560% damage 12 times on 15 enemies. Now, keep in mind, you cannot level this skill up through regular node stones, right? And you can't craft this skill either. The skill is meant to be obtained only for players level 235 and above. And then, you know, the second part of it, Spider in Mirror, for 48 seconds a mirror appear. and every few seconds it will enter an attacking state, during which it will summon up to 10 spider legs to deal 364% damage 8 times. Now, if a single enemy is hit by 5 spider legs, such as a boss you're fighting or something, the activation state will immediately end. So you'll hit the boss 5 times with the spider legs, each spider leg doing about 364% damage 8 times, so that's 364% damage 40 times, and then the spider in the mirror just goes to sleep for 5 seconds. Then it wakes up, then it hits it another 5 times, and it goes to sleep. 5 seconds later, wakes up, hits it, just does that for 48 seconds. And then after that, you have to wait a long cooldown of 250 seconds. I think it's a good skill. I do think this is definitely a good skill. And I'm definitely going to be getting, like, if you can get this from story mode, I'm definitely going to be getting this to level 6 when it comes out. Only because, the matrix point system will allow it for an easy level 6. So that's going to be about it for that. And Will has some souls, some pretty interesting looking souls here. The max souls actually kind of cool in my honest opinion, but I already know I'm not going to be getting these souls anytime soon. I won't even have Lucid soul shards. Makes me think I'm going to be getting Will soul shards. And then Will also drops pocket items. Will drops 4 pocket items according to your stat. If you're a Demon Avenger or if you're a Xenon, it doesn't necessarily matter which one you choose. Just don't choose the It one as a Xenon. Actually, choose the Luck one as a Xenon. Luck benefits Xenon the most. And as a Demon Avenger, it doesn't really matter which one you choose, because it gives 100 HP. All of them do. They are part of the hard boss accessory set, the dark boss set, aka the bitch set, the set that nobody can ever complete, because not even anybody in KMS has the Lotus face yet. We've only seen Damien eyes, but Lotus faces are pretty much just a straight up myth. So yeah, I don't even know anybody who has that yet. Maybe this recent Lotus change where you can actually see the falling debris will kind of make hard Lotus a tad bit easier. Anyway, you also have this new medal from defeating Will. Now, I don't know if this is going to be from story mode or hard mode or whatever, but yeah, there's that. Also, upon defeating Will, you get a cobweb droplet stone. This is a completely different droplet stone from Lucid. Now, all mobs from Esfera will drop a primal droplet stone. No more Arcane River droplet stones. Those are only found in Leshalin, Arcana, or Morass. Now we get the primal droplet stone. So, trading in 10 primal droplet stones and 1 cobweb droplet stone, you get an Arachno coin. Now, what you can do with these Arachno coins? Well, you can buy arcane weapons with them. But not only can you buy arcane weapons, you can buy arcane overalls, arcane hats, and arcane shoulders. So those are finally out after all this time. So that's, really good part. I know, like, some people in GMS Reboot have been going over what would be best in slot, saying, we're gonna have to wear, like, a Chaos Vellum helmet, and then go, like, Arcane and Sweetwater, kind of combine those together. They said they wanted the overall and the shoulder, so they're gonna have to, yeah, it's weird, overall, right? But they said they're gonna have to farm about 320 of these droplets versus the 240 that they farmed for the Arcane weapon for Lucid. So essentially, they do Lucid for the weapon, and then Will for the armor. And that's how that goes. And that's pretty much about it. I've covered everything but the story. So if you do want to see the story, though, there are 2 different places you can go. First things first, I'm going to be streaming it raw tomorrow night. We're not going to understand what it is unless there's a Korean in the chat that can help us out, because you already know your boy can't speak Korean. I am going to be streaming. Well, time is unknown because KMS hasn't really given out the patch times for the Esfera update. So I can't really say which how I'm streaming. I'll just know that I am streaming tomorrow night. I'll update the description of this video. So if you kind of check back maybe a good 24 hours from now, you'll see a set time when I stream. And when I do start streaming, I will notify you guys by uploading a video saying, hey, I'm streaming Esfera, so on and so forth. And yeah, that's kind of my portion of it. The second one is Steve, aka X3 the Iran 59, will potentially be doing a translated storyline of Esfera. He doesn't really stream this kind of thing because he likes to record it and then translate it later on. His translations take a while though, but long translations that better than no translations from me, right? So that's kind of how that goes. So if you want to kind of experience the raw storyline firsthand from me, you could check out my stream tomorrow night. Or if you want to wait for translations, you can go over to Steve's YouTube channel, which will be in the description below, and you can just kind of patiently wait for that. Now keep in mind, when he does upload this video, there might not be any translations on it just yet, but that's only because he's working on it, right? And that's gonna be about it. So thank you all for tuning in to today's video. I covered a lot because there was definitely a lot to cover in this update. I didn't even go over the achievements, the game related fixes, or the bug fixes and skills and whatnot, because you can kind of read those for yourself on Witch Mushroom. But that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, that is if you want to. Be sure to check out the stream tomorrow night on Esfera and Commander Will. It's gonna be some pretty interesting shit. I think it's gonna be pretty nice. And I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace out, everybody.